Today, we're recapping the classic film, The Warriors, where a street gang from Coney Island fight their way from the Bronx to their home turf, while being hunted by every gang in New York. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. The movie begins with a train pulling into a station, while Cleon, the leader of the Warriors, makes a speech to his gang about a big meeting. The Warriors get on a train, and discuss the meeting on the way. Every gang with a solid reputation in New York has been invited to the mysterious meeting, with 9 members from each gang, and no weapons allowed. We then see the Warriors voicing their concerns on the subway, about the dangers they will face, and the possibility of potential violence if things go wrong. We also see some of the other gangs making their way to the meeting, each with their own distinct style and fashion, like the Boppers, the Saracens, and the Electric Eliminators. During the trip, the gang discuss the purpose of the meeting, which is yet to be revealed, before they finally arrive at the meeting place. Every big-name gang in the city is in attendance, and hundreds of gang members are standing around, waiting to hear from Cyrus, the leader of the Riffs, the biggest gang in New York, and the ones who organized the meet. Cleon pushes his way through the crowd with the Warriors in tow, observing their surroundings, before Cyrus begins his speech. It's clear to see that Cyrus is a charismatic leader, and the gang members are enthralled by his words, listening intently, while he explains the purpose of the meet. He explains that one gang could run the city, and he plans to bring every gang together, under a general truce, to tax the crime syndicates, and outnumbering the police by 40,000. He plans to take over one area at a time, and the gangs cheer in agreement, believing that they will now be united as one gang. We then see Luther, the leader of the Rogues, producing a gun, before taking aim and shooting Cyrus, who falls to his death. Fox, a member of the Warriors, saw Luther take the shot, so he attempts to shoot Fox, but police arrive on the scene, and the meeting erupts into chaos. Cleon looks over Cyrus while the Riffs take care of his body, but Luther points to Cleon, accusing him of shooting Cyrus. Cleon denies it, so the Rogues attack him, and the Riffs join in, killing Cleon in the melee, while the remaining Warriors flee, busting down a door, and escaping through a graveyard. The Warriors lay low in the graveyard for a moment before they regroup, realizing that Cleon is missing, and most likely arrested. Swan, the war chief and second in command, tells the group they've got to make it back to Coney Island, their home turf, but Cochise tells him that every cop in the city is looking to bust gang members. Swan agrees, but adds that the truce between the gangs is no longer in effect, and the gang realize that they will have to fight their way back. Swan gives the order to leave, and tells the Warriors to meet at Union Station if they get separated. But Ajax wants to be the new leader, and is ready to fight for the position. The other Warriors de-escalate the situation, so the gang leaves the graveyard, and Rembrandt marks the spot. In the next scene, we cut to the Riffs hangout, where the Riffs are assembled. The new leader of the Riffs, Masai, inspects his troops, before giving the order to catch the Warriors, dead or alive, and to send word to the rest of the big-name gangs to join the search. We then see a radio presenter, broadcasting the Riffs' request, and the city's gangs, now aware of the Riffs' orders, prepare to join in the search for the Warriors. It's clear that the Warriors will have a hard night ahead of them, as every big-name gang in the city, now wants them dead. In the next scene, the Warriors are laying low, waiting for a train to arrive, and Cochise and Ajax are arguing that they shouldn't be hiding. Suddenly, a bus begins to pass, which is full of turnbull ACs, one of the most dangerous gangs in New York. The Warriors realize that the truce is off when the train arrives, so the Warriors have to run in open view to make the train. The Warriors decide to run for the station, when the bus full of turnbull ACs turns around, and a chase ensues. It is a tense scene, as being captured would mean certain death, but the Warriors make it to the station, barely getting onto the train in time, before the train leaves with the Warriors taunting the ACs. On the train, the Warriors celebrate, before Swan tells them to calm down, as the journey's not over yet, and we see a Riff telling Masai that the ACs failed to capture the Warriors. In the next scene, the train stops at the platform, as the fire department have blocked off the station due to a fire, while the Warriors worry about who caused it, as it could be a trap. We then cut to the Rogues, where their leader Luther is making a phone call, while the Rogues stand by. He gets off the phone, when one of the Rogues tells him that he's worried that they'll be caught for killing Cyrus. Luther tells him not to worry, and when a nearby shop owner asks for payment, Luther explodes in anger, showing that he is unhinged and dangerous. Meanwhile, the Warriors are in Tremont after leaving the train, and realize they are being watched from the rooftops. Fox reveals that they're a small-time gang called the Orphans, with a pathetic reputation. They then come across a group of orphans in the street, and Swan decides to talk, while Sully, their leader, calls for reinforcements. Swan and Fox approach the orphans, and Sully introduces himself, before telling them they're not allowed on his turf. Fox then reveals they were at the big meeting, but Sully knows nothing about it, and can't believe the orphans weren't invited. Sully then shows Fox a newspaper clipping, talking about the orphans, trying to prove that they have a big reputation, so Fox plays along. He then tells them they can walk through his turf as long as they're coming in peace, but Mercy, a groupie, tries to incite a fight between the two gangs. Sully reluctantly tells the Warriors to take off their colors, allowing them to walk through as civilians, but Swan refuses, so Sully and the orphans leave, preparing for an upcoming brawl. The Warriors then continue marching through orphans' territory, while Mercy follows at a distance, and she ends up getting jumped by Ajax, while Swan asks her what she wants. During the conversation, however, the orphans return ready for a fight, and outnumbering the Warriors 3-1. The Warriors produce a Molotov cocktail, and hand it to Swan, who lights it, and hurls it at a parked car, which causes an explosion, and allows the gang to escape. They make it to the next station, getting on a train along with Mercy, and continuing their journey. We then see the Riffs, who receive word that the orphans failed to catch the Warriors, while Luther and the Rogues decide to search for the Warriors themselves. Meanwhile, the Warriors are waiting for a train to leave from Union Station, when a police officer sees them, and a chase ensues. The Warriors split off in different directions, when Fox is tackled by an officer, telling Mercy to run, but is thrown on the tracks and killed by an oncoming train. Rembrandt, Vermin and Cochise manage to make it on another train, which leaves just in time, but Swan and the others leave the station entrance, only to find that they are surrounded. They are the Baseball Furies, a menacing gang of psychos who paint their faces and wield baseball bats. The Warriors decide to run, and the Furies give chase through the streets. Thinking that they're safe, the Warriors stop to catch their breath, wondering if they lost the pursuers, only to realize that the Furies are still chasing. The Warriors then cut through Riverside Park, with the Furies in hot pursuit, so Swan gives the order to split up, taking Snow with him. He then manages to catch one of the Furies on his own, beating him up and taking his bat, while Cowboy and Ajax are still being chased. Cowboy tells Ajax that he can't run anymore, so Ajax agrees to fight, turning around and knocking out one of the Furies, while Cowboy is knocked out himself. Ajax then faces off with their leader, who shows off his moves, before Ajax manages to beat him. Swan and Snow then return and a brawl takes place, with the Warriors managing to defeat them against the odds, picking up Cowboy and continuing home. We then cut to the radio presenter, reporting that the Furies have been defeated, while Vermin, Cochise and Rembrandt get off the train, seeing the Lizzies, an all-girl gang, and deciding to introduce themselves. Meanwhile, back at Riverside Park, the Warriors come across a woman sitting on a park bench. Ajax wants to stay behind and get a sexy favor, but the other three tell him it's a stupid idea and that they should focus on getting home. Ajax decides to stay back anyway, and after approaching the woman and getting rough, the woman handcuffs Ajax to the bench, revealing herself to be a cop, and whistling for the other police officers to take him into custody. Snow and Cowboy then decide to go back and check on Ajax, but find that they're too late, and he was already being arrested. Back at Union Station, Swan finds Mercy, so they walk onto the platform to meet the others. Unfortunately, they see a police officer approaching, and decide to run, with the officer behind them. Swan throws the bat at the officer's legs, knocking him down, but they're spotted by more police, so they jump on the tracks, making their escape through the tunnel. Meanwhile, Vermin, Cochise and Rembrandt are being led by the Lizzies back to their apartment, where they attempt to seduce the trio. Vermin and Cochise are easily seduced by members of the Lizzies, wanting to get some sexy favors, but Rembrandt remains uneasy. While watching the room, he realizes that the Lizzies want to stop the Warriors, so he warns Vermin and Cochise, and violence erupts, with Rembrandt getting cut with a knife, but the trio manage to escape. They make their way through the streets, and stop in an alley to wrap Rembrandt's wound, before realizing that every gang in the city wants them dead. Meanwhile, Swan and Mercy continue their journey through the tunnel, where Mercy attempts to get a sexy favor from Swan, and they share a kiss, but Swan refuses to take it further, revealing that he doesn't like her lifestyle, and that she belongs to the streets. Swan then leaves her behind and continues his journey to the next station alone, unaware that he is being tailed by a member of the Punks, a tough gang, recognized from their overalls. He continues through the station, attempting to find the others, while the Punk follows behind. Meanwhile, Snow and Cowboy meet with Rembrandt and the others, revealing that Ajax was arrested, and decide to look for Swan. We then see Mercy walking through the station, realizing the Punks are watching Swan, so she tells him that they're after him, but Swan tells her that he knows, when he sees the rest of the Warriors coming down the stairs, and signals to them to enter the restroom. He then drags Mercy into the restroom, where the Warriors wait for a fight. The Punks follow closely behind, attempting to ambush the Warriors, but the Warriors surprise the Punks by bursting out of the bathroom stalls. A brawl takes place, with several Punks getting injured, and each Warrior fighting for their lives, but despite their superior numbers, the Punks are defeated. We then cut to the Riffs hangout, where Masai is asking about the Warriors, but one of the Riffs tells him that they have a visitor, who claims to have seen who shot Cyrus at the meeting. Back on the train, the Warriors are battered and bruised, when a group of teenagers board the carriage. They see Mercy and Swan, and look at Mercy's dirty feet, making her uncomfortable, so she tries to make herself look more presentable, but Swan holds her arm preventing her, subtly telling her not to be ashamed. In the morning, the train makes it to Coney Island, and the Warriors depart, with Swan sharing a moment with Mercy, before they leave. The Rogues, however, are patrolling Coney Island, following the Warriors closely, waiting for a moment to attack. The Warriors then decide to arm themselves, breaking off pipes and rusty metal from under the bridge, while the Rogues watch and wait. Luther, the leader of the Rogues, then calls out to the Warriors, telling them to come out to play, while growing more and more manic. The Warriors watch Luther, before Swan addresses the Warriors, asking if they're ready, before heading to the beach, with the Rogues walking onto the sand to meet them. Luther and the Rogues approach the Warriors, and they share words, with Swan asking why he killed Cyrus, and Luther replying that he didn't have a reason, revealing that he's a psycho. Luther then pulls out a gun, ready to end Swan and the Warriors for good, before taking aim, but Swan quickly throws his pocket knife at Luther, hitting him in the arm, and he falls to his knees in pain, cowering in defeat. Swan then approaches Luther, cutting off a piece of his hair to humiliate him, when suddenly, the Riffs show up with close to 40 members, and approach the two gangs. Swan asks if the Riffs still want the Warriors, but Masai replies that they have what they're looking for, letting the Warriors leave, and surrounding the Rogues, while Luther screams for mercy. We then see the radio presenter, reporting that the Riffs got it wrong, and calling off the search for the Warriors, while Swan and Mercy share a moment on the beach, before the Warriors walk down the shore, and the movie ends. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a fantastic day.